Hi everyone, my name is Rabab of Gentle Radical, based in Cardiff, and we are absolutely delighted and excited about our event coming up called Women and War and Unsilencing, which we're working on in partnership with the Festival of Voice, happening in Cardiff this Saturday the 9th, 3 till 7 p.m. So what is this event about, and why do we think you should come and take part in it? So Women in War and Unsilencing really looks at the connections, of course, across women, war, violence, patriarchy, and if it's even vaguely possible to say the last 100 years, we're certainly coming in at different moments of the last 100 years to explore those subjects through the contributions of some extraordinary speakers, both within the UK and who are coming from outside of the UK to share their presentations and their thoughts, from Palestinian diaspora as well as Gazan women, from people like Jenny Mathers at Aberystwyth University, who's going to be focusing on the role of women within conflict themselves as soldiers, people like Tatiana Garavito, who's going to be talking about the direct impacts of escaping war for women as asylum seekers and within the asylum process, and particularly within context of detention. We're going to be hearing from Angela Boscovich, who's spent many years in Iraq, in places like Baghdad and Basra, and more recently Mosul, and the impacts of what it means to continue resisting and struggling in Iraq for women in conflict and post-conflict situations. We're also really excited to be inviting and including the voices of local women and girls within Cardiff and South Wales, and we've asked them to respond specifically to the text that we've chosen to frame this entire event, which is a text by Komelen Jinen Kurdistan, which is the Kurdistan Women's Freedom Movement. They are based in Afrin in Syria, and they published and released on the 8th of March this year, International Women's Day, a really extraordinary text, a kind of rallying cry to women across the world, which really articulated, we felt so powerfully, some of the ideas and some of the thoughts and some of the thinking behind how women's contribution and the centering of women and their liberation at the heart of all revolutionary processes was so essential to transformation and change. So they start that text saying, to the women of the world, let us turn the 21st century into the era of women's freedom. And later on they talk very clearly about revolutionary attempts that are not based on women's liberation have no chance of succeeding. Let us not struggle separately from each other, let us struggle together, and in course let us turn the 21st century into the era of women's liberation, because this is exactly the right time. So we want to invite you to this event. Of course these subjects are challenging and sometimes quite intense, but we also feel actually that we want to create a space which is welcoming. We want to create a space which is inclusive, and we want to create an atmosphere of hope and of real connection, of real dialogue, so that we can kind of discuss together, learn from each other, inquire from each other, find out about how women locally and internationally are really addressing these issues, and what our aspirations together are for change. We believe that is a moment that is always hopeful, has to be aspirational, and the greater those connections we can have to each other to do this work together, the more valuable our processes of knowledge sharing can be. So we invite you on Saturday to Jacob's Market at 3 o'clock to join us at Women and War and Unsilencing, and we really welcome you all.